It's one of the oldest, deepest aches of the human heart. The sting of betrayal, the hollow space left by a lie, the injustice of being wronged by someone you trusted, someone you loved, someone you showed your real self to. And in the aftermath, when the shock wears off, something else rises. A fire, a craving for balance, a deep, primal urge to see them hurt the way you're hurting. You want them to understand the weight of what they did. You want them to feel the echo of the pain they caused. You want them to look back, just for a moment, and regret everything. We tell ourselves it's about justice, but if we're honest, it's about revenge. And so we watch, we wait, we scroll through their lives, looking for a crack in the facade. We hope for karma to do its work, for the universe to deliver a punishment that fits the crime. We entertain fantasies of their downfall, of a moment where we get to be the one who walks away, leaving them in the dust. But what if the entire game is a trap? What if the very act of waiting for their defeat keeps you chained to the person who hurt you? What if the real victory isn't in seeing them fall, but in rising so high that you can no longer even see them? The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius, a man who dealt with betrayal, war, and unimaginable pressure, wrote it down for himself, a reminder that has echoed through centuries. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. This isn't a call for weakness. It's not about letting them off the hook or pretending it didn't happen. It's the ultimate strategy for power. It's a quiet rebellion against the cycle of pain. It's the blueprint for a victory they will never see coming because it doesn't happen on their battlefield. It happens within you. This is about reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your future. It's about building a life so solid, so true, and so full of light that the shadow they cast on you simply disappears. If this message finds you in a moment of struggle, if it speaks to the part of you that is tired of fighting and ready to win, then do one small thing to support this space we're building together. Hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it's a signal that you're ready to stop reacting and start rising. Now let's begin. The poison of mirroring. When someone hurts you, your first instinct is to become a dark mirror of their actions. They were cruel, so you entertain cruel thoughts about them. They were deceptive, so you start looking for ways to expose them. They operated from a low, selfish energy, and without realizing it, you start vibrating on that same frequency. You think you're plotting revenge, but what you're really doing is becoming like them. Your mind, which was once your own, is now occupied by them. They live in your thoughts, rent-free. The conversations you have in your head, the arguments you win in the shower, the scenarios you replay before you fall asleep, it's all about them. You are giving the person who hurt you the most valuable thing you own, your attention. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. When you allow your emotional state to be dictated by the memory of their offense, you are handing them the keys to your inner world. You are not free. You are a prisoner to the past, and they are the warden. To be unlike him who performed the injury is to refuse to become a student of their methods. It's a conscious decision to reject their curriculum of bitterness, envy, and retaliation. Think about it. The person who wronged you likely lives in a state of internal chaos. Their actions were a symptom of their own lack of peace, their own fears, their own shadows. Why would you choose to enter that same chaotic landscape? Why would you adopt the tactics of a person whose life you would never want to live? Real power is not in mirroring their darkness, but in protecting your light so fiercely that their darkness can't touch it. It starts with a simple, radical choice: to starve the part of you that wants revenge. You stop feeding it with replays. You stop nurturing it with angry conversations. You stop checking their social media, not because you're pretending to be the bigger person, but because you've decided your energy is a sacred resource, and it will no longer be spent on a dead account. The moment you stop focusing on them and turn that focus back onto yourself, the dynamic shifts. You take your power back not by taking something from them, but by taking yourself back from them. Let them have their anger, their drama, their karma. Your work is different. Your work is to build a mind so peaceful, a spirit so grounded, that the actions of small people can no longer disturb your foundation. This is the first and most critical step. Refuse to become a copy of the thing that broke you. Their character is their prison. You are waiting for karma to show up like a lightning bolt, to deliver a public defeat or a dramatic downfall. But most of the time, karma is quieter, subtler, and already at work. The person who hurt you has a punishment they can never escape. They have to live every single day with the character that allowed them to do what they did. They have to wake up in the morning and be the person who is capable of betrayal. They have to look in the mirror and see someone who lies, who uses people, or who lacks the courage to be honest. They have to carry the internal reality of their own weakness, even if they bury it under a mountain of excuses and bravado. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny and repress. The person who wronged you is living deep within that shadow. They may not be conscious of it. They may project it onto others, calling everyone else the problem. But the disconnection is there. It's a quiet, corrosive emptiness that no amount of external success can fill. This is the part you don't see on social media. You see their smile, but you don't see the hollowness behind it. You see their new relationship, but you don't see their inability to trust it, because they know their own capacity for deception. You see their promotion, but you don't see the gnawing feeling that they are an imposter because they have not been true to themselves. To be unlike him who performed the injury is to understand this deeply. It is to recognize that their life is their own consequence. You don't need to add to their suffering. Their character is already doing the work. While you are on a path of healing, growth, and integration, they are often stuck in a loop. People who do not face their own darkness are destined to repeat it. They will likely carry the same patterns into their next friendship, their next relationship, their next job. They will continue to create the same problems because the problem is not outside of them, it is them. Aristotle believed that character is the bedrock of a good life. He taught that excellence is not an act, but a habit. The person who wronged you has habits of character that are fundamentally weak. Those habits of avoidance, of selfishness, of cowardice will continue to erode their own life long after you have moved on. So when you feel that urge for revenge, remind yourself of this truth. You have escaped them, but they can never escape themselves. Your revenge is not in seeing them punished. Your revenge is in the fact that you no longer have to participate in their self-destruction. You are free. They are in a prison of their own making, and their character is the bars on the window. Let that be enough. Your focus is not on their prison, it is on your freedom. The grace of indifference. There is a misconception that the opposite of love is hate. It's not. The opposite of love is indifference. Hate is a fire that requires constant fuel. It consumes your thoughts, your energy, and your peace. To hate someone is to be intensely, passionately connected to them. It is a bond just as strong as love, but forged in pain. When you are plotting revenge, You are still in a relationship with the person who hurt you. It's a toxic, draining relationship, but you are still showing up for it every single day. To be unlike him who performed the injury is to cut this cord. It is to arrive at a place of calm, quiet indifference. This is not the same as numbness or suppression. Stoic indifference is not about pretending you don't feel. It is a rational, conscious choice to decide that something no longer deserves to occupy space in your mind. It is a declaration that your inner peace is more valuable than their past transgression. Think of your energy as a finite currency. Every moment you spend thinking about them, you are spending your life's energy on a bad investment. You are funding the very thing that brought you pain. The ultimate power move is to stop funding it. You don't announce it. You don't write them a letter. You just quietly divest. You take your attention, your focus, and your precious energy, and you reinvest it into your own life. At first, this will feel unnatural. The mind is habituated to the drama. It will want to go back to the story of what they did. But you gently, firmly bring it back. Bring it back to your breath. Bring it back to your work. Bring it back to a conversation with someone who actually cares about you. Bring it back to the present moment. Each time you do this, you are performing an act of rebellion. You are training your mind to understand that the past is no longer the center of your universe. This indifference is your true revenge because it communicates something more powerful than any angry word ever could. You are no longer important. Your anger tells them they still matter. Your tears tell them they still have a hold on you. But your indifference, your calm, focused, forward-moving life, it tells them that they have become irrelevant. And to a person who hurt you, often from a place of ego, nothing is more deafening than the silence of their own insignificance in your world. They expected a fight. They expected drama. They expected to see you broken. Instead, they see you thriving, peaceful, and unconcerned. You didn't just get over them. You outgrew them. You rose to a level where the air is too thin for their kind of negativity. This is not a game you play to get a reaction. It is a state you achieve for your own freedom. The beautiful byproduct is that it is the one thing that can truly get under their skin, the realization that they couldn't destroy you. In fact, they inadvertently made you stronger. Build a life they can't access. Revenge is about tearing something down. Rising is about building something up. The most profound way to be unlike him who performed the injury is to channel all the energy you once spent on them into building a life of your own design. A life so beautiful, so fulfilling, and so aligned with your values that their past actions become a distant, insignificant memory. This is the concept of the Stoics' inner citadel. Your mind, your character, your habits, this is your fortress. When someone attacks you, you don't chase them out into the field to fight. You retreat into your citadel and make it stronger. While they are out there, likely repeating the same patterns, you are inside working. You work on your mind. You read, you learn, you practice mindfulness. You get to know your own thoughts and challenge the ones that don't serve you. You work on your body. You exercise, you eat well, you sleep. You build physical strength not for vanity, but for resilience. As Seneca taught, the body should be treated rigorously so it can be obedient to the mind. A strong body houses a strong mind. You work on your soul. You pursue hobbies that bring you joy. You spend time in nature. You reconnect with what makes you feel alive, not what makes you feel numb. You rediscover the parts of you that existed before they came along. You work on your circle. You invest time in people who uplift you, who challenge you, who see you. You cultivate relationships built on mutual respect and genuine care, reminding yourself what true connection feels like. Every single one of these actions is a brick in your fortress. Every book you read, every workout you complete, every healthy meal you eat, every moment of genuine laughter, it is an act of construction. And here is the beautiful truth. A life well lived is the ultimate revenge. There is no need to announce your progress. There is no need to post about your glow-up. Your growth will be self-evident. It will be in the way you carry yourself. It will be in the calmness of your voice. It will be in the clarity of your decisions. It will be in the peace that radiates from you. People will notice, and if the person who hurt you ever sees you again, what they will see is someone they no longer recognize. Someone stronger, wiser, and more at peace than they ever were. They will see someone who took the rubble of what they tried to destroy and built a mansion. They will not have access to this new life. They don't have the key. They don't know the password. They are on the outside, looking in, realizing that while they were a chapter in your book, you have become a book they are no longer able to read. This is not about making them envious. It is about making yourself whole. The envy is simply a side effect of your wholeness. You didn't do it for them, you did it for you, and that is why it is so powerful. You have taken your pain and metabolized it into power. You have become an alchemist of your own suffering. And there is nothing more intimidating to someone who tried to break you than seeing you happy, whole, and free without them. Let go of the story. After the initial pain, we are often left with something even more persistent: the story. The story of what they did. The story of what you should have said. The story of how unfair it was. We become the curator of our own personal museum of grievances, and we give tour to ourselves every single day. This story, over time, becomes a part of our identity. I am the person who was betrayed. I am the one who was abandoned. I am the one who is always misunderstood. To be unlike him who performed the injury means you must be willing to let go of the story. This is one of the hardest steps because the story can feel validating. It feels like proof of our pain. We hold on to it because we are afraid that if we let it go, it's like saying what happened didn't matter. But letting go of the story doesn't invalidate the pain. It liberates you from it. The person who hurt you has moved on in their own way, likely by refusing to acknowledge the story at all. Your revenge is not to cling to it tighter, but to release it more completely than they ever could. You stop being the narrator of your own tragedy. You refuse to let their actions be the defining chapter of your life. It was an event. It was a painful one, but it is not your identity. Socrates taught that the unexamined life is not worth living. This also means we must examine the stories we tell ourselves. Is this story serving you? Is it making you stronger, wiser, happier? Or is it keeping you tethered to a moment in time, forcing you to relive your pain over and over again? Releasing the story is an active process. It means that when the memory arises, you acknowledge it without getting swept away by it. You see it, you feel the echo of the emotion, and then you consciously place your focus elsewhere. You stop talking about it with everyone who will listen. At some point, retelling the story stops being about processing and starts being about ruminating. You are re-traumatizing yourself with every telling, keeping the wound fresh. You forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not seeing the red flags, for giving too many chances, for staying too long. You were operating from the information and the heart you had at the time. You have learned. Now move forward. Being unlike them means you value your present and future more than you value your painful past. They may be trapped by their own actions, forever defined by their weakness. But you have a choice. You can choose to be defined by your resilience, by your growth, and by what you build next. When you let go of the story, you create a vacuum, and into that empty space, a new story can begin to grow. A story of strength, of peace, of a quiet, unshakable joy. A story that is entirely your own, where they are not the villain, but merely a catalyst for the hero you became. The best revenge is a story they are no longer in. The quiet victory of peace. Our culture sells us a version of victory that is loud. It's the triumphant social media post, the public takedown, the moment of confrontation where the other person finally admits they were wrong. We crave that cinematic ending. We want the credits to roll with us on top. But the victory that comes from being unlike him who performed the injury is rarely loud. It's quiet. It's internal. It is the steady, unshakable peace you feel when you realize they no longer have any power over you. This victory doesn't have an audience. No one might clap for you. The person who hurt you may never know the depth of the work you've done, and that is the point. You didn't do it for them. You didn't do it for applause. You did it for your own soul. This quiet victory is you, hearing their name and feeling nothing but a distant calm, seeing a picture of them and not feeling your stomach drop, waking up in the morning and realizing your first thought wasn't about them, making a decision based on your own joy, not on what might prove them wrong, feeling compassion for them, not because they deserve it, but because you are so full of peace that you have it to spare. This is a victory that cannot be faked or performed. It is earned in the silent moments of choosing peace over drama, growth over grievance, and forgiveness over bitterness. Plato spoke of an inner harmony where all parts of the soul are in alignment. This is that harmony. It's when your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are no longer at war with the past. You have achieved a state of inner coherence. And this peace, this quiet strength, is the ultimate revenge. Because the person who hurt you, who likely thrives on chaos and reaction, cannot understand it. Your peace is a language they do not speak. They expected you to break, but instead you became whole. They expected you to fight, but instead you found stillness. They may have won a temporary battle, but you have won the war for your own life. So let go of the need for a loud conclusion. Let go of the desire for them to see you win. The most profound victories are the ones that are felt, not seen. The ones that anchor you so deeply in your own truth that the storms of the outside world can no longer shake you. You didn't just survive what they did to you. You used it as fuel. You became more of yourself because of it. You took their worst and you created your best. And that, in the quiet truth of your own healed heart, is the only revenge that has ever mattered. You became unlike them. You won.